among students and the youth, the Governor General's I Believe program.
Executive Director, Sandals Foundation, Mrs. Melanie Subrati, Chairperson, Seprod Foundation, Ms. Constance Hu, Vice President, Employee Benefits Sales and Health Operations, Guardian Life Limited, Mr. Shane Gray, IT and Environmental Manager, Jamaica Premix, Ms. Kian Sudlow, Country Managing Partner, Ernst & Young Chartered Accountants, members of Parliament joining via Zoom, members of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and other agencies of the ministry, specially invited guests joining on Zoom and social media, members of the media all, good morning. And welcome to the One Laptop or Tablet per Person initiative. We are coming to you live from the Jamaica Stock Exchange right here in downtown Kingston, Jamaica. I am Dr. Terry Carell-Reid, and it is a pleasure to serve you in the capacity of MC. Now, on Tuesday, March 10th, I remember exactly where I was when I got the notification from my news app that Jamaica had just reported her very first case of coronavirus. On Wednesday, March 11, I told my friend bye-bye at the Norman Manley International Airport. She is a nurse, and she was returning to Florida to be one of the frontline workers. On March 12th, this was a Thursday, we got the notification that schools would be closed effectively Friday, March 13. We went from 0 to 100 very, very quickly. And homeschooling all of a sudden became a thing that everyone spoke about and everyone obsessed about. The transition was hectic for quite a lot of us. But in honesty, there were some of us who were a little bit more privileged than others. Some of us whose children had multiple devices and unlimited data. But that is not the reality for a lot of children in Jamaica. Some of whom are on the PATH program, as well as others who are deemed needy. In order for us to ensure that every single child has access to uninterrupted learning, we had to answer the call. The call that no child should be left behind. And therefore, the government of Jamaica, namely the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, has stepped up to the call, has provided for the students who are on PATH, but has recognized that there are other students outside who are just as vulnerable. And so we acknowledge and we thank all the members of the private sector organization who are also rallying to ensure that every child gets a tablet or a laptop. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we are here today. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Grace McLean, the Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, to bring her opening remarks via video.
Dr. Terry Carell-Reid, Moderator, the Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Education, Youth and Information, the Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am very happy to be able to welcome you all this morning to this special launch of the One Laptop, Tablet per Child initiative. This is a very significant event given the challenging circumstances confronting many families and the impact on our education sector as a whole. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to an unprecedented situation where schooling has been disrupted for thousands of students across the island. Educators, institutional heads, and policymakers have been challenged with the responsibility to design responses to ensure that our students will continue to receive a good quality education in a timely manner. We at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information responded by coordinating a suite of options for home-based learning using online platforms, radio and television broadcasts, and the delivery of printed materials to those who lacked devices and/or internet access. Given the importance of observing the protocols and advisories of the Ministry of Health and Wellness regarding social distancing, these remain the most practical methods of reaching most of our students. Yet, a significant number of students remain unreached. As a result, we have had to extend the support offered to our most vulnerable students by accelerating the provision of tablets and laptops to the neediest, in particular, our students on PATH. Yet, there are still others who need help, and we cannot do it alone. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the ministry is therefore appreciative of the fact that so many of you from corporate Jamaica have chosen to partner with us in making tablets, laptops available to students from economically challenging circumstances. This is indeed a worthy intervention of good corporate citizenship. Education is essential for productivity and competitiveness. Prolonged breaks in education provision or a deep deterioration in its quality will hurt Jamaica's long-term economic competitiveness. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me at this time extend sincere thanks to the following persons. Mr. Jasford Gabriel, President of the Jamaica Teachers Association. Mr. Hydron Mikulski, Director of the National Education Trust. Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest, Executive Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange Group. Mr. Keith Duncan, President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. Mrs. Thalia Lynn, Chairperson of the National Commercial Bank Foundation. Mrs. Nadine Matthews Blair, Chief Executive Officer of the National Commercial Bank Foundation. Mrs. Heidi Clark, Executive Director, Sandals Foundation. Mrs. Melanie Subrati, Chairperson, Seprod Foundation. Miss Constance Ho, Vice President, Employee Benefits, Sales and Health Operations from the Guardian Group. Mr. Shane Gray, Information Technology and Environmental Manager from Jamaica Premix. Ms. Keon Sudlow, Country Managing Director, Ernest & Young Chartered Accountants. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being here, and special welcome to all our partners who are joining us on Zoom and other platforms. We know you will work with us to make this initiative a success. Thank you for your support, and may God continue to bless us all.
Thank you so very much, Dr. McLean, for such a powerful, powerful welcome. It's interesting how the pandemic showed the weaknesses and it amplified the gaps, but it also gave us the opportunity to collectively work together. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Jasford Gabriel, President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, to deliver his opening remarks. Please welcome him.
Our moderator, Dr. Terry Carell Reid, Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Education, Youth and Information, the Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, other distinguished guests, the audience, and joining online, good morning. The mission of the Jamaica Teachers Association speaks to, among other things, the promotion of the highest educational standards in our country. Against this background, The JTA commends and fully endorses the initiative of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information and the National Education Trust on the realization of the launch of a One Device for Every Child initiative, bridging the digital divide. It is universally accepted that the global pandemic has resulted in arguably the greatest dislocation in the history of education. Over 1 million students at the various levels of the education system in Jamaica alone have been affected. We must collectively promote inclusivity in our education system if no child is to be left behind. The need, therefore, to resource our learners and our instructors in the digital space has never been more urgent. Despite the challenges confronting the education system on account of the COVID-19 pandemic, opportunities to catapult our education system into a new and exciting era of online education are presented. With creative thought processes, and strong community spirit of sharing born out of our motto, out of many one people, we will conquer the challenges and change the narrative. Fundamental to accomplishing this are the following. 1, continuous improvement of internet access across the country. 2, ensuring that each child has a reliable device to effectively participate in the ever so important business of education. 3, ongoing upskilling of our teachers to ensure the online experience of our learners is constantly being improved. 4, appointing and effectively engaging more master teachers who have the capabilities and the capacity to reach a broad cross-section of our learners in specialized areas simultaneously. 5, retaining our best teachers within the Jamaican education system. Let us not forget, colleagues, the greatest impact on students' performance is teacher quality. 6, addressing the glaring inequalities across the education system, chief among which is the placement methodology of our secondary school students. We can do this if we really want. Special commendations to all the private and public sector entities, as well as the community groups, alumni groups, and individuals who have come on board to join this worthwhile initiative. The Jamaica Teachers Association, despite being a non-profit organization, pledges $1 million to this drive in supporting a device for every child. A confirmation, thank you, a confirmation that we are in the fight to defeat the digital divide that exists across the land. I call on the entire nation and our friends in the diaspora to rally around this noble cause as we continue to unite and serve as a nation. Thank you.
We're observing protocol. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Thank you for your greetings. And I was reminded, and I really would like to take the opportunity to acknowledge all the teachers, all the educators who have acknowledged the displacement and the dislocation of our students and have come up with very creative ways to assist their communities. So we just want to acknowledge, and if you could kindly applaud all our teachers, all our educators who are selflessly giving of their time with very little resources as well. I would now like to welcome Mr. Hadrian Mikulski, Director of the National Education Trust, to deliver his greetings via video.
And Information, Mrs. Favour Williams, Honorable Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Mr. Robert Nestor Morgan, Permanent Secretary, Dr. Grace McLean, Executive Director of the National Education Trust, Mrs. Marcia Phillip Dawkins, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am Hadrian Mikulski, Principal of Homewood Technical High School and a member of the National Education Trust Board of Directors. The pleasure is mine this morning to bring greetings on behalf of the Board of Directors of the National Education Trust. Regrettably, our chairman, Mr. Norman Reed, is unavoidably absent this morning, and as such, I am so charged to deliver. With that said, I am humbly requesting that you accept a warm greeting from us here at the National Education Trust. As a board, ladies and gentlemen, we are privileged with a deeper insight of the realities of the sector. Having assessed the COVID-19 effects on education, even within the school I serve as principal, we are deeply affected. Despite our best efforts as individual schools, thousands of students at this time are genuinely not engaged in the instructional process. And so, when I heard of this initiative, I had to laud the minister and her team for responding in such a meaningful way. The National Education Trust stands firmly beside the minister and her team as we embrace the implementation phase of this project. And in wearing my hat as principal, I want to thank you, Minister, and your team for the thoughts and the actions that went into getting us this far. My students, as well as many other students from the hills and valleys of this country, will thank you and will remember all of us for the good deeds that we are doing. As servant leaders, I want all of us to join hands, hearts, and efforts as we deliver on the promise of opportunity to children and young people from disadvantaged backgrounds. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all work together and make this project, this initiative, a reality. I want to thank you very much for having me, and may God bless all of us as we continue to serve.
Beautiful message. Thank you so very much, Mr. Mikulski. So we've been hearing about the one tablet or laptop per person initiative, bridging the digital divide. But let us get a better idea of the initiative, the why, the who, and the how. Watch this.
A Device for Every Child, Bridging the Digital Divide, is an initiative which we have conceptualized to garner 100,000 devices for 100,000 students who are not on path but are deemed to be in need. The government, through e-learning, is providing an estimated 150,000 students with devices, and we are asking private individuals to match that effort by providing the next level of students who are considered in need with devices. These students are all students in state care, an estimated 600 that have special needs, and other students who are spread out across the primary and secondary level to begin with.
So the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information is extremely delighted to officially launch the one laptop or tablet per child initiative. We are faced with a pandemic. We have no idea how long we will be in it. And so our children can't just remain at home. They have to be engaged with the formal education system. We have put out a number of different approaches, and among those is our online approach, in which a child will need a device, will need connectivity, and will need a data plan in order to connect that way with the education system.
We all have been hit by COVID-19, and the education sector is no different. In fact, it probably is one of the hardest hit, where our children basically cannot go to school. So school has become an online activity largely, or a digital activity. Their students during COVID, in between March and that period, there are an estimated 35,000 students who just were not accounted for in terms of logging on to any portal. And what we're trying to do with this project is to ensure that at the very least students have a device that the ministry will load with its e-resource app, and they can access those resources and participate in the digital space right now. The target of the project is to get 100,000 devices for 100,000 students. This can be in either cash or in kind. Where it's in kind, we're asked that you send their specifications that we have detailed from the Ministry of Education. The tablets, we ask for Android tablets. The recommendation is to have laptops for secondary school students, and they're estimated 30,000 laptops that we're trying to get. And then for the primary school students, we're looking to get roughly 70,000 devices.
The private sector organization Jamaica is very happy to partner with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information for this campaign, A Device for Every Child. And we have to get these devices into the hands of our children. We cannot leave our children behind. They are our future. So we have to make the investment. So we're happy that the Ministry of Education has asked the PSOJ to come on board, and we want to participate. So we're asking all our corporate sponsors, all companies, all individuals who can come on board, please come on board and support. Our children are our future, and they depend on us. The government of Jamaica cannot do it on its own. In this time of need, all hands need to be on deck, and we need to invest in our beautiful children so that we can set the future for Jamaica in this tough period we face as a country.
I think that deserves a round of applause, don't you? I just want to remind us, although we have most of the persons tuning in via Zoom and they're tuning in remotely, we certainly want to put the energy behind this. This is a celebration because it means that we're going to get devices into the hands of all our children, and now they will have access to education that is uninterrupted. Fantastic. And we saw that there are different approaches, and I think it is very important for me to remind us that this is not just a government thing. This is not just a private sector thing. This is an everybody's thing. So if you have the money, kindly donate it. If you have tablets or laptops that you would like to order, please work in relation or liaise with the National Education Trust so that they can assist you with that. Thank you so very much. Again, 70,000 tablets, 30,000 laptops is what we are targeting. At this time, we'd like to speak to our lead facilitators as it relates to monetary donations. Please welcome to the stage Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest, Executive Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange Group. Kindly welcome her.
Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Terry Carrellery, Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Education and Information, Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister of State, Ministry of Education and Information, Dr. Grace McLean, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you this morning to the home of the Jamaica Stock Exchange and to make a few general remarks about the one laptop or tablet per child initiative aimed at bridging the digital divide for students. I wish to first congratulate Minister Williams and her team for such an urgent, innovative, and important initiative, which we believe should receive the buy-in of a wide cross-section of people both here and across the world. This initiative is one that coincides well with the mission and objectives of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. which in short is to provide a robust, effective, and transparent platform aimed at mobilizing social capital for the growth, development, and sustainability of the social sector. Allow me to briefly speak about the JSSE, given that the company, which is a subsidiary of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, is new. In January 2019, the Jamaica Stock Exchange pioneered the launch of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, not just for corporate social responsibility activity of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, but as a platform to promote the mobilization of capital to finance social needs. In so doing, the JSSC will assist in localizing the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which evolved out of the Millennium Development Goals. The Social Stock Exchange is also intended to assist with Jamaica's 2030 vision, Jamaica the place to live, work, raise families, and do business. Naturally, this is unattainable without an educated population. The one laptop or tablet per child initiative therefore sits high on the JSSC's agenda, and it is our pleasure to lend our support to the Ministry of Education, Youth, and Information. Our platform provides the avenue to attract and receive donations, and it is a vehicle which allows for transparency of the process, with each donation to the platform recorded, receipted, and acknowledged. Though new, we have had the distinct pleasure of working with the social sector organizations, foundations, multilateral agencies, and government to continue the development of the social sector. While the JSSC contemplates two markets, the Jamaica Social Investment Market is the donation market and is the vehicle through which donations for this project will be channeled. The JSSC recognizes the efforts of all groups that have been working tirelessly in mobilizing the social consciousness of the Jamaica through the various COVID-19 appeals, so that health, education, and other sectors critical for the care of our people can be supported. We did this with our own COVID-19 appeals for Teen Challenge Jamaica and Monotech Engineering ventilators, and it was successful. So we have no doubt that our collaboration with the Ministry of Education will lend itself also to success of this project. Today, we are happy to be associated with the one laptop or tablet per child initiative, which, if our country is not to be left behind in the digital age, must be supported. The project is a large one and requires a lot of giving, but we believe it is possible. It is possibly one of the most important initiatives in Jamaica right now, one that will have a positive impact on generations to come. We are pleased to be an associate in labor and to provide our platform to ensure that the $4.5 billion required is realized. Our chairman, Professor Neville Ying, the JSSC ambassador, Honorable Thalia Lynn, as well as the other members of our team who we know are invested in ensuring an improved social sector, will be assisting in mobilizing support. We are excited to be also working with the members of the private sector organization, National Education Trust, NCB Foundation, and all the other stakeholders within this project. We join with the other stakeholders in soliciting the action of all well-wishers here and abroad to donate and await the chain reaction of hope and a brighter future for children. I close with this quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "If we do not act, we shall surely be dragged down the long, dark, and shameful corridor of time, reserved for those who possess power without compassion, might without morality, and strength without sight." The power, compassion, morality, and strength are in our collective hands. Let us act. Please log on to the jse.jamstockex.com, select the project, which was ably uploaded to the platform by software architects who have pledged 10 tablets. Like others here, we have started giving. We encourage all to come on board and make this initiative an overwhelming success.
Thank you so very much, Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest, Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Thank you so very much for being one of our lead facilitators. And so for those of you who may be asking, how is it that you can contribute using the platform, just very briefly, visit jsseja.com and click on one laptop or tablet per child initiative. There are 3 options. You can make a pledge that does not require any registration. You may click donate to make payment with your credit card that will require your registration. And option 3, contact JSSE directly to obtain their banking information so that you can send your bank transfer or your wire transfer. Thank you so very much. Another lead facilitator comes in the vessel or the body of Mr. Keith Duncan, President of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica. Please make him welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Very much. And thank you all for being here today. Honorable Fayval Williams, Honorable Robert Nesta Morgan, members of civil society and colleagues, Jasper Gabriel, President of the Association. Marlene, thank you very much for hosting us this morning, and thank you for your efforts. God, you always seem to be there when it counts. The Private Sector Organization of Jamaica has been a powerful advocate, but we think we need to move beyond advocacy and action. So a new mantra, advocacy, action, action. We have to execute and we have to be a part of the solution. So we are really pleased that Minister Williams reached out and invited us to be a part of the initiative. We're happy to be on board. It's one laptop, one tablet per child, important for our future, for our children. Our children have been out of school from March, and it's essential now more than ever to ensure that they receive the tools they need to access remote learning and online classes. We need to ensure that our children are engaged and are able to receive the highest quality of education possible under the circumstances, and that we all close this digital divide. COVID-19 has thrust our nation, ready or not, into a digital-first society. Businesses, and likewise the education sector, have had to adapt to the new normal and the urgency for accessing online services. The pandemic has also exposed the widening digital divide, especially for our children who are now dependent on electronic access for their education. The development of our nation rests on the investment we make in our children. The COVID-19 pandemic has negatively impacted our Jamaican economy, negatively impacted our fiscal space, negatively impacted our tax revenues, which are over 20% down year over year. And there are pressing demands from health, infrastructure, we just saw the floods, social safety net with the unemployment rate jumping from 7.3% to 12.8% as at July, There are so many pressing demands, I would want to have the Minister of Finance job at this. The government of Jamaica, their resource envelope is extremely limited. However, there are over 458,000 students in our school system, and the GOJ is providing 40,000 tablets, and they already provided 25,000 to teachers, because every child that can learn must learn. We must step up as a society and do our best to close this gap. We believe that through this multi-sectoral initiative to provide tablets and laptop computers for children, we're taking a critical step in ensuring our children are not left behind. And it is actually an opportunity which is foisted on us by this pandemic to prepare our children for the inevitable fourth industrial revolution. We would also like to welcome the Minister of Education's announcement yesterday around this risk-based, phased rollout approach of the opening of our schools. This phased resumption of our face-to-face engagement is definitely important to re-engaging our children in the learning process. We have to acknowledge Jamaica Teachers Association and our teachers, along with all the frontline, and now our teachers especially now face the challenge of opening our schools, of building out the online capability, and it's in a very anxious and very uncertain period that our teachers now have to step up to the plate, and they are doing so. And I would like to acknowledge the partnership approach that the ministry has taken under the leadership of Minister Favour Williams, pulling all the stakeholders together so that we can all work in a solution-oriented manner as we face the challenges that this pandemic has thrust on us. We're, however, grateful to other private sector, to public, private, and civil society stakeholders as part of this effort, because Jamaica's children are dependent on us to access these essential devices. We encourage the members of the PSOJ, every private sector company, as well as individuals here at home and in the diaspora, who have the best interests of Jamaica at heart, to help us meet this demand by donating towards the purchase of these devices. I am committing, let me start over. My wife and I are committing $1 million personally to this initiative, right? And I would like, the NCB Foundation has kicked us off with $50 million. I'd like to acknowledge the National Commercial Bank Foundation, Thalia, Nadine. These ladies step up to the plate all the time, and I know their chairman is right behind them. So thank you very much, NCB. JMB, we had to just proportionally step up to the plate. Through the June Duncan Foundation, we're committing $10 million towards this cause also. So in the spirit of innovation, working with the NCB Foundation, Nadine Matthews-Blair, our own Greta Bose, they have developed a connectachildjamaica.com website, a platform, a portal which will enable persons to make donations using cash or credit cards towards the purchase of laptops or tablets to students at a school of their choice across the island. At the PSOJ, we will be establishing an oversight committee to ensure that the donations and the procurement of devices are done in a transparent, seamless, and equitable manner. This will engender accountability to all stakeholders and will provide weekly updates on commitments received and tablets procured, while the Ministry of Education will undertake the distribution of these devices. So let's donate, because every mickle make a muckle, and let's make this happen. Let's close this gap. And again, I would like to thank everyone for coming on board on this very powerful initiative. We all hands on deck as we seek to drive solutions for our country in this very difficult period. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Keith Duncan, President of the PSOJ. NCB, $50 million. Thank you so very much. JMB, $10 million. We want to remind everyone that the target, the goal is, what is it? What's the number, the total number? $4.5 billion. is what we're going for. And so again, I want to remind us that we cannot only rely on corporate Jamaica or the private sector. We all have a part to play. Thank you so very much for that. So 4.5 billion is what the target is. Again, we are trying to provide for 100,000 children, at least 70,000 tablets and 30,000 laptops. And the profiles of the targeted beneficiaries, in case you are wondering, is 600 special needs students, 4,500 students in state care or homes, and 94,900 students who are not currently on the PATH program. So we thank you, and we do remind you, of course, every mickle make a muckle, and this is a very large muckle. Thank you so very much to our lead facilitators. So let us break for an item. Las Voces Melodiosas. This is a 5-member singing group whose aim is solely to provide a musical experience that will captivate the hearts and minds. Listen carefully to the words because there is a surprise. Watch this.
Sold I to the merchant ship. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit, but my head remains strong by the hand of the Almighty. We move forward in this generation triumphantly. So won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had redemption songs, redemption songs.
Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for the COVID pandemic. The new way of learning is online. All these
Tablets are here, laptops are here, oh yes.
Minister Favor Williams, she's got this. The tablet is the new book.
Tablet is the new.
So won't you help me
Sing songs of freedom.
songs of freedom? That's all I ever had.
Redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs. Hey! Won't you help me sing? Won't you help me sing? Won't you help me sing? Won't you help me sing?
Songs of freedom. That's all I ever had.
Redemption songs, redemption songs, these songs of freedom, redemption songs, sing songs of freedom.
Rendition, fantastic rendition. Another round of applause for Las Voces Melodiosas. Very beautifully done. We would just like to remind you again, for those of you who may still be a little bit iffy about how to donate, You can make monetary donations we mentioned earlier via the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange by visiting jsseja.com and selecting one of 3 options that suit you best. There is also the Junior Achievement Jamaica, that is jajamaica.org, where you can click to donate. And for persons who are willing to donate devices, especially from overseas, we ask that you always liaise with the National Education Trust just to ensure that the initiative is streamlined. Everything will be transparent and everything will be recorded. Thank you so very much. And I would just like to take the opportunity to acknowledge Mr. Damian Daly, if you are here, CEO of Software Architects Limited. I understand that you donated 10 tablets. You are here in the back. Thank you so very much for taking up the challenge and for donating. And again, if it is even 1 tablet, if it is even 1 laptop, I mean, we will have persons who can donate in bulk, but what we're saying is every mickle make a muckle. So my 8-year-old has a laptop. She has a tablet that she won from an art competition, and she was able to be gifted with a cell phone because we told her if she obliterated her average, then we would keep our promise. Her school report came in, she obliterated her average, so she got the phone. And when we had the conversation that not all students are in the position that she is, a position of privilege, what she decided to do was to pledge her tablet. And so again, it does not matter your age, it does not matter your gender, and it does not matter the number. Just donate if you are in a position to. So again, thank you so very much to all of the entities as well as the individuals like Mr. Daly in the background who have pledged and who have donated. At this time, it gives me great honor to welcome our Minister of Education, Youth, and Information, our fearless leader at this time, where there is just so much to get done in so little time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Minister, the Honorable Favour Williams.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Could I have a round of applause for Las Voces Melodiosas? And do you know those are 5 of our teachers? Yes, they are. So let me begin by acknowledging our Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Terry Carell-Reid, who's been doing a fantastic job. Don't you agree? Wonderful. Let me acknowledge as well the Honorable Robert Nesta Morgan, my able Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth, and Information. And in absentia, the P.S. McLean, and our CEO, Chief Education Officer, Dr. Troop. Let me also acknowledge Mr. Keith Duncan, President, Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, who never hesitated when I called him and spoke to him about this initiative. He was on board, he got it right away. He didn't say, wow, that's too big or that's too much. He was like, we have to do this, we are on board. A round of applause for Mr. Keith Duncan, please. Mr. Jasper Gabriel, President, Jamaica Teachers Association. Thank you so much for being here this morning and for the support that you continue to give. The Jamaica Teachers Association is one of our major stakeholders in the education sector. Let me acknowledge as well Mr. Hydran Mikulski, Director of the National Education Trust, a unit of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. And let me say thank you to Mrs. Marlene Street Forest. Thank you for this location. Thank you, Marlene, for just jumping on board. Marlene actually sent me a WhatsApp and said, call me urgently. And I thought, oh my God, what is Marlene asking me to call her urgently for now? And when I called Marlene, she was like, we've got to do this, we've got to do this. I'm on board. Thank you so much, Marlene. Let me acknowledge as well Professor Neville Ying of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. And our major partner, Mrs. Thalia Lynn, Chairperson of the NCB Foundation. Thank you so much for coming on board. Nadine Matthews-Blair, Chief Executive Officer, also of the NCB Foundation. Mrs. Heidi Clark, Executive Director, Sandals Foundation, again, entities that did not hesitate, who were actually making donations in their own right, of their own, but when they heard about the initiative, also came on board. Mrs. Melanie Sobrati, Chairperson, Separate Foundation, and one of our great innovators in terms of encouraging and enabling children to learn the coding language. And Melanie, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, wants to work with you wholeheartedly to arrange, some kind of function, some event, so we can do a really large-scale coding event and bring on board our children, not just our girls, but all of our students. Ms. Constance Ho, Vice President, Employee Benefits Sales and Health Operations at the Guardian Group. Thank you. Mr. Shane Gray, IT and Environmental Manager, Jamaica Premix. Ms. Kayan Sudlow, Country Manager, Partner, Ernst & Young, Chartered Accountants. Let me acknowledge as well all those who are joining us on Zoom this morning, members of Parliament and others, all our stakeholders who are here this morning from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information and other agencies at the Ministry. Thank you for the work that you've done pulling this together. Specially invited guests, members of the media, our teachers and principals all over Jamaica. A pleasant good morning to everyone. I'm pleased this morning to be launching, along with our many partners, this initiative called One Laptop or Tablet per Child. It is our collective effort to respond in the first instance to the COVID pandemic, but more importantly, it's our collective effort to reduce, no, let me take back that word, to eliminate the digital divide in Jamaica. And I know many persons talk about the digital divide, but what is it exactly? It's simply this: the difference in access to technology that people who have money can afford compared to what poor people cannot afford. Eliminating that divide begins by the government and the private sector coming together, as we're doing here today, to put a laptop or a tablet in the hands of every Jamaican child, especially those families living near or below the poverty level, whether they are in rural Jamaica or in our urban centers. Obviously, we know it's not just the tablet or laptop. It is the connectivity, it's the affordability, it is the educational content that teachers direct to students. It is the technical support that the students will have if there's a problem with the device or the software. It is the training that we give regarding cybersecurity and staying safe while traversing the online world. We have to take many steps simultaneously, and so you would have seen the ministry also dedicating a part of its budget to ensure connectivity in schools, and by the end of November, if not before, we would have connected an additional 100 schools and would be working on doing so for the remaining 135, because we identified that there were 235 schools across Jamaica that did not have connectivity. At the end of all of this effort, what we want to see is improvement in the educational outcomes. We want to see better test scores. We want higher level of certification of our members in our workforce. We want to see more of our students better prepared as they leave primary schools to enter secondary schools. We want to see more of our students matriculate to tertiary institutions and become the scientists, the engineers, the coders, the software developers, the digital design analysts, or the developers of manufacturing technology. Our children will not become these things if we don't give them the digital tool. In launching here this morning on the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, it acknowledges this innovation by the JSE, and it's a transparent way for corporate Jamaica to make donations happen. We know as well that NCB, the PSOJ, and our own National Education Trust are also portals through which donations can happen, and we thank you all for making your websites available for the oversight that you extend to this project, the transparency, because at the end of the day, we want all those who donate to know and have trust that what they donate will reach to the school of their choice or otherwise, and to the class of their choice, or to even to the students of their choice, and that there will be superior auditing and accounting of all that activity. The contribution you're making today goes beyond an immediate response to the COVID-19 crisis. It really is an investment in the future of Jamaica. We cannot afford to wait for the perfect time when all the stars are in alignment to ensure that all our children get access to the most up-to-date techniques and technology available. We're not operating in silos, in isolated spaces, cut off from what is happening in the rest of the world. In effect, has been acknowledged already, out of the crisis of COVID-19, we have an opportunity to accelerate the path towards digital literacy among our children in the first instance, but we should seek to get to that place where we have digital fluency. Of course, distance learning and online courses predated the pandemic, but globally there is an intensification in the push to get more people operating in the digital space with a greater deal more comfort. It is within this context that I welcome your partnership. We're not providing just tablets just for the sake of doing so. Again, to reiterate, it's an investment in the preparation of our children for life. And in terms of the government's own efforts, prior to the COVID pandemic, there was already some 18,000 tablets in the school system, and we have indicated to principals in those schools to make those available to students. You would have heard of the 40,000 tablets being distributed to PATH students in our primary schools, grades 4, 5, and 6. And we target 4, 5, and 6 because those are the exam grades. We're targeting the PATH students because those students are the neediest of the needy in our society today. Based on the numbers that I see, every PATH student in grades 4, 5, and 6 will be getting a tablet. Additionally, there are other procurements on the way to ensure that a good majority of our PATH students in the high schools in grades 10 to 13 get a laptop. And you would have known as well that we distributed some 25,000 tablets to teachers as part of their heads of agreement that was signed in 2017. So actually, when the pandemic hit, our teachers really stepped up, and I want to applaud the Jamaica Teachers Association. They stepped up and were trained in the learning management system, and we are using the Google Suite learning management system. And that is where the teachers create the virtual classrooms and make the lessons available. That's where they meet the students in the virtual world. Additionally, I want to applaud the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information as well. They worked assiduously to onboard students to the online platform. And last I checked, we had well over 350 unique identification created for students. And I've been following the numbers over the last 3 weeks, and we saw in the first week where 39% of our students were engaged across the different platforms. At the end of the third week, that had gotten to about 65% and climbing. So there has been an embrace of the digital, the online modality, but we also know that we have a lot of challenges as well, and that's why yesterday you would have heard the announcement of adding the face-to-face modality to the other three approaches that we already have, because we understand that even if all our students come back to school tomorrow, that the online learning, having a tablet or a laptop in the hands of our students, is still going to be an effort that, as long as I'm in this position as the Minister of Education, Youth and Information, that I will work on to ensure that it happens. And I know that each year, our budget will be so oriented at the ministry. And in fact, we started that already. Since I've been there, I've asked the PS to please take a look at our budget and see how, in addition to the tablets and the other procurement efforts that are underway, how can we help those families who are not on path, but they're needy as well? And hopefully in a week or so, we will be able to announce an initiative to be able to give families $20,000 towards the purchase of a laptop or tablet. And we have assessed that we'll be able to reach some 36,000 families with that. We have vendors who have come on board who are willing to enter into agreement with parents who can't afford the difference between the 20,000 and whatever the laptop might cost, to be able to enter into payment plan arrangements with them, maybe a 12-month payment plan or a 24-month payment plan, to make it easier. So we're taking many steps at the same time, because we recognize that it's not just the pandemic. This is a much longer-term effort to get all of our children digitally ready, to get all of our children with the skills that they will need in the 21st century. We know that many of the jobs today will not be there when they graduate from schools. It will require a different kind of skill set, and a skill set that is rooted in the digital world. So again, I want to thank all the sponsors. I am not going to name names because I know I'll get into trouble, but let me just specially acknowledge again NCB, $50 million, JMMB, $10 million, Keith and his wife, $1 million, JTA, honest, thank you so much. That means so much to us. As you said, you're a not-for-profit entity. You don't generate revenues, and I'm sure this is coming from the hearts of your membership. So we want to especially thank you for that. And I know there are many other companies that have come on board, and you're going to hear from them shortly as to their part in all of this. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone. This tells me that Jamaicans, when they open their hearts, we can get just miracles happening. And you're going to see the results from the education sector. I know that learning will be accelerated, it will be enriched, and we will see it in the outcomes. That's what we wake up every day to do, to ensure that our children can navigate the world, can become the men and women that we want to see them become, and take their rightful place in society. Thank you all again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Minister. Thank you for the words. Thank you for the reassurance. And it is really good to see that and it's very heartening to see the holistic approach. Because if we're speaking of the neediest students, we realize that the tools are not just the only thing that we need to look at, but also the connectivity. So the fact that we have 100 schools that are now connected with another 135 to be connected means that this is a holistic approach. And we also had 25,000 tablets that already went out to the teachers, again, to strengthen the ecosystem. So again, thank you so very much to each and every person who is a part and who will become a part of this particular initiative. Now, the minister spoke about entities who did not hesitate to answer the call. And in so doing so, they also encouraged others to give as well. I'm referring to our key partners. We will hear from Honorable Thalia Lynn, Chairperson of the NCB Foundation, as well as Nadine Matthews-Blair, CEO of the NCB Foundation. But first, watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we welcome Honorable Thalia Lynn as well as Nadine Matthews-Blair from the NCB Foundation.
I guess she's not joining me. Madam Chairperson, Honorable Minister Favour Williams, Honorable Minister Robert Nestor Morgan, all our important people out there, including our colleague foundations and members of the media, good morning. Nadine wouldn't let me bring the confetti to throw when that 50 million came up on the screen, but anyway, I just want to say on behalf of our NCB family, we are really proud to be here to support this most crucial matter of national interest. It's so important it took both of us to be here. Madam CEO of the foundation, Nadine Matthews-Blair, who wouldn't come up here with me. And I just wanted to also add that this is something dear to our chairman, the Honorable Michael Leachin, because his big mandate is that every child should have the opportunity for a tertiary education. And it didn't take much convincing for the group to come on board to support this cause. Today, it's more critical because every child is in need, entitled to a basic education. These children, as Keith says, are the future of our Jamaica. The challenges that we had to deal with in this pandemic makes me cry. When Nadine and I got on the phone or on a Zoom call with our adopted schools, and we heard the challenges. The teachers, these dedicated teachers, at our adopted schools, these are our primary schools, were telling us of the hard choices that the mothers had to make. They were using their phones to try and allow their children to access classes. And the mothers had to choose between topping up the phone, paying for data, or buying food. So we found that it would have been easier for us at that time to help them to buy printers and the related material. And these dedicated teachers, I have to tell you, did so well in getting those lessons to those children. So a real big up to our teachers. And yes, the video caught all the zeros. Nadine didn't want to make a mistake because I have a way of leaving off zeros. The NCB Foundation has approved this donation to support one laptop or one device, iPad, per child, because we know that this is paramount to nation building. Minister, we heard your clarion call. We felt so badly for you when we had that call, and you looked so overwhelmed, but you came up with a solution. This will assist, I have to read it because I can't, I get carried away. This will assist the donation of approximately 1,400 devices to students attending not only our 35 adopted primary schools, but children with specific needs, special needs, such as at my pet project, Mustard Seed Foundations, and our, like some of our directors are involved with state homes like the Maxfield Park Children's Home. We're paying close attention to all of what we're hearing from you, Minister. And beyond our 50 million donation, we're also supporting the PSOJ by developing the donation portal to facilitate corporate and individual donations locally and globally. And this website is www.connectachildjamaica.com. And Marlene, I'm not leaving you out as your ambassador. There's also the jsse.com portal. So we're appealing not just to corporate Jamaica, but to every individual who can make a contribution. I think Keith also said every mickle makes a muckle, and we have the diaspora who we'd like to also pull in. We endorse and advocate for a centralized and coordinated effort that we see is taking place to ensure that there is no duplication of efforts, to ensure we benefit from discounts from mass procurement, and to ensure our children have the benefit from the right and correct specifications. Children and young people, please use your devices to read and to learn. And we talk about learning, and Minister, you saw what came out of Nadine's Agile Lab. Maybe one day one of these children with one of these tablets will do that for us too, or will do that for your ministry, to be able to give you a wow presentation. We are proud to support our nation and our children in this major way and echo your charge. I invite everyone to get on board, because if we work together, we will bridge the digital divide and prepare our children for a global economy that has taken a huge digital leap forward as a result of this global pandemic. Together, we will, we can, and there will be amazing results. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much to the NCB Foundation. Although Nadine did not come up here, we do want to acknowledge her right there. Thank you so very much to the contribution and to the tune of $50 million. Absolutely no parent should have to choose between providing food and topping up. There's so many parents who have one device that possibly has to be shared amongst multiple siblings as well. There are some parents who rely on their phone to do their little hustling And so now the choice becomes, do I keep this phone to bring money in, or do I now leave this phone for my child? And there are still some parents today, as most of us have our smartphones, there are those parents who still have what we call bangers. They are not smart devices either. And so the fact that we have many entities, corporate Jamaica, individuals stepping up, thank you so very much. Heartiest gratitude to you. So we thank NCB Foundation, and we now welcome Ms. Heidi Clark, Executive Director of Sandals Foundation, to bring her remarks as one of our key partners. Please make her welcome.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much, Madam Chairperson. You did a wonderful job this morning. Honorable Fable Williams, Minister of Education, Youth and Information. Honorable Robert Nesta Morgan, Minister of State, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Dr. Grace McLean, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, media and all of those joining us by Zoom, good morning.
Good morning.
It is certainly an honor to be here this morning, and I want to make special mention and thank the Jamaica Stock Exchange for having us for this special event. And I want to make special mention for the insight of last year, launching the social stock exchange that allows investors to contribute to the development of Jamaica at all levels. So thank you for that. I'm very honored to be here, not just to represent the Sandals Foundation and Sandals Resorts International, but to all of our partners who have come on board for this device drive. They have galvanized their resources and their networks to ensure that we get devices in as many children's hands as possible. So I thank them for being part of this initiative. The Sandals Foundation has always been committed to education. We have invested in infrastructure and educational resources to ensure that every child has the opportunity to reach their full potential, not just here in Jamaica, but across the Caribbean islands where we operate. In August of this year, we launched Lessons Alive, and we expanded that to include digital devices so that we could help to bridge the platform for digital learning. I'm very, very pleased to say that to date, we now have committed 1,000 tablets for Jamaica, and that is due to our great partners. We are working alongside the Ministry of Education and the National Education Trust, and I want to say a special shout out to Latoya because she has been incredible. And their seamless distribution, we are working to target schools in St. Anne, St. Mary, St. James, and in Westmoreland, and we are looking at 6th graders. So we're very pleased that it is a partnership and it is about everybody coming on board. The future of education lies in digital learning. It is the only way that we can enrich, expand, and sustain education into the future. We know that 2020 has thrust us into this a little faster than we would have planned, but I feel very strongly that through this public-private relationship that we have the capacity to provide devices to every child and that no child will be left behind. I want to say a very special thank you to everyone in this room and to every one of our partners who has come on board to make this possible. And I'd like to leave you with this small message from the President of the Sandals Foundation and the Deputy Chairman of Sandals Resorts International, Mr. Adam Stewart. Please turn your face to the screen. Thank you very much.
At the Sandals Foundation, my team and I fundamentally believe that education is a vehicle through which children are going to reach their true and total potential. We've made it our mission over the years right throughout the Caribbean to help families and students attain the resources that they need to make learning possible. This time is no different. Learning this year took on a new style, a new dimension, a digital dimension. And as such, we have to do everything possible to get devices in the hands of the kids that need them so desperately to continue their educational journey. We will continue to work with our donors, our partners, and the Ministry of Education to keep lessons alive. Please join us on this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Sandals Foundation, to the Sandals International Group. 100,000 devices is what we're going for. 70,000 tablets, 30,000 laptops. We are trying to serve 100,000 students. And we thank the Sandals Foundation. You heard 1,000 already given, and we heard from NCB Foundation with 1,400. But we just want to remind everyone that we all have a part to play. You saw their faces? Did you see those faces? For any of you who have ever met disadvantaged children, they are not short of imagination and creativity, and all they need is the experience and the exposure, and that is what this initiative hopes to do. So we welcome Mrs. Melanie Subrati, who is the chairperson of the Seprod Foundation, to bring her greetings as a key partner. Please welcome her.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you. The Honourable Favourable Williams, Minister of Education, Youth and Information. The Honourable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister of State, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Dr. Grace McLean, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Distinguished guests, everyone on social media, everyone zooming in, and anyone who will listen to this very worthy event that we're very pleased to support. I'd like to congratulate the Minister for putting this all together, and also just simply to be a Minister of Education that understands exactly what is needed right now and who is exemplifying the need for action and commitment that is obviously the most important thing during these times. Through our relationship with many of our primary schools, the Seprod Foundation, we have seen and learned firsthand about the challenges due to lack of access to devices and connectivity that principals, guidance counselors, teachers, parents, and students have all faced since schools physically closed in March, and have remained physically closed as we have embarked on a new school year. Over the past 7 years, Seprod Foundation has supported developing digital skills in our primary schools by offering coding and robotic workshops. We've supported Scratch Day for 5 years now, an hour of code every December that's coming up, and we welcome your invitation to work together to do something big this year. We're very excited about that. And basically ensuring that children at the primary level become comfortable using technology. We really want children in Jamaica, and by extension adults, to become the creators and developers of technology, and to ensure that we have the ability to solve our own problems going forward in a digital world. We believe that exposure to technology is necessary for our children to be prepared for modern careers. This year, the pandemic has called us to be more aggressive in getting devices to all our children, bridging this digital divide. As the world continues to change so rapidly, this mission to bridge the digital divide has become more important than ever. So we have partnered with the American Friends of Jamaica, the ISA Trust Foundation, and the Digicel Foundation to not only get devices to our children, but to ensure that they have the necessary resources and connectivity to join their online classes. We would like to thank all our partners and all of you here today making a pledge for our nation's children. We would especially like to thank the Ministry of Education for bringing us all together and for the very urgent and importance that they have tirelessly doing to support our children during this time. I want to note that we are pleased to pledge 400 devices valued at over 11 million Jamaican dollars in support of the national effort. We continue to raise funds to do more, and another place that other people can contribute as well is through the GoFundMe Connect Ed Jamaica Fund that the American Friends of Jamaica have put up online, and we welcome others to join us. I just got a message from the BPIAJ that they will also be contributing another $2,000 US to the fund. Here is a short video showing a bit of what we have been doing to help our schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Hi, my name is Lisa Doyan. I'm the Executive Director of SEPROD Foundation. We're here today with our partners, the American Friends of Jamaica, Digicel Foundation, ISA Trust, and the Ministry of Education to hand over our first set of 200 tablets. We are also fundraising through the Connected JA Fund on GoFundMe to raise more money to double our impact. So we welcome everyone to come on board. Our children need us. This has been a very difficult year for them. So we invite more stakeholders to join us. We'll be going island-wide this week to finish our distribution of this first set of tablets. So we really look forward to helping these kids in this time.
Hi, my name is Frances Fulton. I work with the American Friends of Jamaica, who are partnering with SEPROD Foundation and Digicel here to help provide students with these much-needed tablets for their education. And we are continuing our efforts to raise donations and double that amount so that in the coming months we can have distributed over 400 tablets to children in schools.
Hi, I'm Alex Casses with the ISA Trust Foundation. We're really thrilled to be helping here today to help the kids with this amazing initiative of giving them tablets, because this is a time when they really need it. And we're so pleased to be here today to assist them.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the SEPROD Foundation. Thank you again, Mrs. Subrati, who definitely emphasized the importance of preparing our children for modern careers so that they can be positioned to be the problem solvers of our issues right now. So thank you so very much, and for partnering with other persons as well. At this time, we welcome Ms. Constance Hu, VP Employee Benefits, Sales and Health Operations from Guardian Life. Please make her welcome.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Terry Carrell-Reed. Honorable Favor Williams, Minister of Education, Youth and Information. Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister of State, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Dr. Grace McLean, Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Distinguished speakers this morning, my fellow key partners, members of Parliament joining on Zoom, members of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and other agencies of the ministry, specially invited guests here joining on Zoom and on social media, members of the media, good morning.
Good morning.
Guardian Life Limited and the Guardian Group Foundation are indeed pleased to partner with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and the National Education Trust to bridge the digital divide that currently exists among our students. This has been worsened by the COVID pandemic. At Guardian, we uphold the principles of fairness and inclusivity, and it is our fervent belief that children, who are considered some of our most vulnerable, must not be negatively impacted by phenomenon such as the pandemic, which inadvertently affects us all. Today, we pledge $5 million towards this project. To purchase laptops and tablets that we know will go a far way in alleviating some of the challenges that our students face and to facilitate their true and full potential. Children are our future, and education is one of the gateways to achieving sustainable development. We are committed to supporting our country in any effort that seeks to achieve objectives so that you and I can be proud citizens of Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, God's richest blessings on us all. Please be safe. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Guardian Life. We hear the Mickles coming in, right? We're hearing the 50 million, the 10 million, we're hearing the 5 million. And we just want to remind everyone who is watching again, we are taking donations in the form of monetary donations as well as devices. So whatever you can do, please, we will provide all of the different links, all of the different websites, so that you can get a very good idea of which portal is best for you and which option is the best one for you. Still with our key partners, we invite Mr. Shane Gray, IT and Environmental Manager from Jamaica Premix. Is he here? Premix isn't here? Am I? Okay. So I understand that there isn't a representative here from Jamaica Premix, but we would like to acknowledge them for being one of our key partners in this particular initiative, one laptop, one tablet per child initiative. So we will close off with Miss Kayan Sudlo, Country Managing Partner, Ernst & Young, one of our key partners. Please make her welcome.
Thank you. In the interest of time, I hope you will forgive me for not repeating all the protocols of all the 12 people before me, but good morning. It really heartens me to listen to all the messages that the other sponsors had this morning. And the common thread, I would say, is that spirit of humanity and a passion for our country and our children. And it's that passion for our children that has brought us here today, along with the work that we do with Junior Achievement Jamaica, because we believe that involvement with our children and financial literacy is critical to the future of our country. At EY, we live by our mission, which is to build a better working world. And that means that we want the world to function better. By doing that, we have interactions with our staff that work with us, the communities that we engage with, and the clients that we serve. And we hope that the world will be a better place for that. But for it to be really better, we have to take hold of our children's future. We have to, in terms of spending time and giving them that chance for an education. They have a right to an education. And it's that education that can make a change in their lives, a difference in their circumstances. That education that can result in future contributions to our society. Also, they could become the future entrepreneurs and innovators that will solve the problems of the world. Now, JFK said children are the live messages that we send into the future that we will never see. So imagine that. The impact that we have on our children now that will impact the future. We want to send those very positive and impactful messages into the future and ensure that it is a bright one for them. So with that, I would say that EY is very pleased to be a part of this initiative. We are working with Junior Achievement in terms of contributing to schools that are more in the rural areas, and we have made some pledges to them already in terms of tablets that will be distributed by them. And we will continue to support this initiative going forward. I would say as well, don't underestimate the impact that you can have, even if it's just one tablet. Many of us in this room, or people who are on Zoom, we were one of those children some time ago. Thank you.
Thank you so very much to all of our key partners. Thank you for being exemplary. Thank you for being the beacons, of course, that will encourage other persons, other individuals, other organizations to get involved. So the number is 4.5 billion. We are trying to serve 100,000 children. We're going to remind you 600 special needs, 4,500 students in state care or in homes, as well as 94,900 students who are needed, but they are not on the PATH program. And it all comes down to us being our brothers and sisters keepers. That is really what it comes down to. Between the government, between private sector, and between ourselves as individuals, we have a responsibility to all of our children. I do understand that we have Guardian Life would like to make a presentation to the Minister of Education, Youth and Information. It is a symbolic check as well as a laptop, I believe. So I'm going to invite Minister Favour Williams, as well as Ms. Constance, who VP Employee Benefits, Sales and Health Operations of Guardian Life, to the stage so that we can have this presentation. And this is on behalf of the Guardian Group. And in the meantime, I'd like to acknowledge one of the Jamaica Stock Exchange's key partners, I'm unsure, who is abroad at the time, but sent a message that he has pledged 3 laptops towards this initiative. So we thank, please put your hands together. So we are always going to encourage, we thank those who are watching, who are already logging on to the different portals, who are making their donations or making their pledges. Thank you so very much. It does not matter if it's 1 tablet or 1 laptop, or if it is even 100 Jamaican dollars, we will accept them all. Every mickle makes a muckle in the fight to ensure that no child gets left behind. Thank you so very much to all of the agencies, to the ministry, to our key partners, to everyone who is playing a part. We thank you. We have now come to the end of today's proceedings, but it wouldn't be complete without our vote of thanks. I now welcome Latoya Lancaster, a student of St. Michael's Primary, to do the honors. Watch this.
Thank you, Dr. Reed, Master of Ceremonies. Good morning to you all. Honorable Phil Williams, Minister of Education, Youth and Information. Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister of State, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Dr. Grace McLean, Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Specially invited guests present and joining on Zoom and social media. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of my school, St. Michael's Primary. Let me borrow a quote from Brian Tracy. Develop an attitude of gratitude and give thanks for everything that happens to you, knowing that every step forward is a step towards achieving something bigger and better than your current situation. End quote. First, I want to thank the Almighty God who continues to pilot us in every instruction and has deposited in us the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that we need. To you, Lord, we give all the glory, honor, and praise. Secondly, the National Education Trust for the initiative Advice for Every Child program, which assists needy at-risk students by providing information, communication, technology device for students across the education sector. This is a welcome program, especially in this current pandemic where online learning is becoming a new norm. In doing this, you are ensuring and living up to this motto. Every child can learn, every child must learn, hence no child should be left behind. Thirdly, we want to thank the Jamaica Stock Exchange for providing the venue to hold this amazing event. I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and their willingness to thank on the completion of this task for child across Jamaica. A big thank you, Sandals Foundation, Jamaica Premix, Musa Foundation, Guardian Group, National Commercial Bank, Ernst & Young Chartered Accountant, Software Artifact Limited, Junior Achievement Jamaica National Education Trust, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Jamaica Stock Exchange, to all distinguished guests. To all the other persons who have contributed to this ceremony in one way or another, thank you.
All right, put your hands together for our vote of thanks delivered by Miss Latoya Lancaster, student at St. Michael's Primary. She said if she hasn't, she's going to have an attitude of gratitude. That's what she spoke about. She said every child can learn and will learn. And she basically said that you are not defined by your current situation. Very well said. Out of the mouth of babes, you know that she would eat you up if it was a debating society. Am I right or am I right? Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. This brings us to the end of the official launch of one laptop, one tablet per child initiative, bridging the digital divide. Thank you to all of you who might have joined us via Zoom. We really do appreciate your kind attention. And again, we thank all of our key partners who are making this happen. Thank you to the ministry, the agencies, and all the teachers who've been a part of this ecosystem. We encourage you to visit jsseja.com. A document is there, and of course, all the different portals that you can visit in the event you would like to make donations on a monetary standpoint, or if you'd like to donate your devices. Thank you so very much. And again, please donate what you can. Every mickle makes a muckle. It has been a pleasure serving you as MC. I'm Dr. Terry Carell Reed. Please be safe. Take care.